Okay, we can go ahead and slowly start. Um, Hi everyone, welcome. We are very happy to have you here today. This webinar has the main objective of starting to build this early career network together. The idea of building an early career network has been around for a while in GLP, and there have been a lot of changes recently in the GLP community. We have a new IPO, we have an upcoming OSM next year in Mexico. So we thought it was a good time to start to build this network together. And first, I want to introduce myself. I am Sofia Nani. I am from Argentina in Latin America. I'm a junior researcher here and a member of the scientific steering committee of GLP. And my research is mostly about biodiversity and livelihoods in Argentina dry forests. And together with two other SSC members, Jonas and Alexander, and with the help of the scientific steering committee and the GLP staff, we are starting to build this early career network. So the first thing that I want to do is have a brief overview of our agenda today. We have 1 hour in which first we'll have a short presentation overview of GLP by Jonas, who's the other SSC member. And then I will briefly share with you our perspective on the early career network and why we thought it can contribute to achieving our objectives within GLP, but also your objectives. And then we will have a group activity to start to brainstorm ideas to how to build this network. And after that, we will have an open discussion in which we can share what you talked about and start to plan ahead and come with ideas on how to move on once the webinar ends. And then we will wrap up. So I don't know if Jonas is here yet, but if you're here, Jonas, you can go ahead.
So he's having a little trouble joining. I'm working on that right now.
Okay. Maybe I can start with my presentation and then Jonas can go next if you want.
I think that sounds good.
Okay, perfect. I will share my other presentation. Here you go. Can you see my screen now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, I will tell you a little about why we thought to build this early career network as one entity or body within GLP. And I really like this quote that I learned about in one of our SSC meetings a year ago that says that when we interact, we change one another, because it resonates with many of the purposes of GLP. Interactions are really at the core of both land systems and land system science. Land systems emerge from the interactions between people, their activities, and the environment, and land system science evolves as we interact with one another. And we know that within land system science and in our GLP community, there are a lot of early careers. We know there are particular challenges at this stage. And maybe you are doing your PhD and you're in the need of tools and methods, or maybe you are looking for job opportunities, or you want to connect with other researchers or practitioners to collaborate, to generate synthesis analysis. We also know that those challenges are not evenly distributed. So following our values, it's really important for us to generate a diverse and inclusive and an open and safe place for us to interact and share. This is a little about GLP, who we are and why we do our research, and the goals that we set define what kind of research we do and how we do it. But interactions also play an important role here, because we don't want to impose goals to the larger land system science community, but rather we want them to be a basis for further exchange and evolution. And also, our approach, how we connect to the larger land system community, is driven by our values. And within our values, something very important is diversifying, building, and engaging our community. So again, the early career network, we think it can really contribute to that. And then also when we look at the GLP, we can see all these spider web of different bodies and entities that are essential for achieving our different objectives of setting agendas and facilitating synthesis in land system science, producing land system science, but also bringing that science into action to support practice and policy, and generating and advancing in generating advances also in solutions based on the science that we built. So within this spider web, we thought that the Early Career Network was sort of a missing body or entity that can really connect with the other bodies and contribute to achieving our objectives. So that means that we need you, early careers, to achieve our objectives, but we also think that having a formal early career network can benefit you in many ways, can bring a lot of positive things and assets for you. But we didn't want to assume or what is it that you need, what is it that you want out of this early career network. And that's why we really want to work together in building this early career network based on your inputs. And that's why I wanted to share briefly who you are. This is based on more than 200 responses that we got from a form that we shared a few months ago that maybe some of you filled. We were trying to screen interest to see how whether people wanted an early career network and what were their thoughts, what were their themes. And we were very happy when we saw a lot of responses because we thought that maybe there was an interest and a need of an early career network. One of the things that we liked is that so far there was geographic diversity. We had respondents from 63 countries in 5 continents, so that's a nice start. And there was also diversity regarding your positions. As expected, many of you are involved with academia. There are a lot of, more than 60% of the people were PhD students or postdoctoral researchers, but we also have professors, researchers, and also a nice number of practitioners, which we think is great because we would also like the Early Career Network to help build bridges between science and practice. And then when it comes to the themes, to the research areas or practice areas that you're focused on, it was also nice to see a lot of different themes. Here are some keywords based on your responses. All these keywords are very related to land system science, and land is sort of as the nexus connecting all these words in this word cloud. It was nice also to see that some of you were carrying out more disciplinary research, whereas others were more involved in interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary work, which is great also to have this diversity of approaches. And other nice thing is that you had great ideas already. These are some of the comments that I picked from the form responses. You had ideas regarding potential activities of the Early Career Network in the OSM, also of regional and global representation, channels in which we can connect and interact, themes that could be addressed. So we really hope that in this webinar we can generate more of these ideas and also try to generate action items that can help us achieve those ideas. So after an overview of the GLP, we want to hear from you. So we have prepared this group activity. We will be splitting in 3 breakout rooms. This activity will last 15 minutes, and I will share a brief description of each room in a minute. But we really hope that you can pick a note taker, someone who can take notes in a Google Doc that will be available for each room, and also a speaker, someone who can share what you discussed when we all get back together after those 15 minutes. Each room will have a document like this, and it would be great also if you can take notes, but also identify more specific action items, specific things that we can try to achieve and work on after the webinar ends. And just a little about each room. We will have one room about aim and organization, where we will try to think, what do you see as the main aim of an early career network? What would be a desirable organizational structure and how we can achieve this? I will be moderating this room. Then we will have other room moderated by Alexander, which will be about exchange and activities. We can think of channels that we would like to use, activities that you would like to hold as an early career network, for example, webinars or other things. And then we will have another specific room about the OSM, where we will try to think what could be of ways in which the early career network can have formal participation in the OSM and gain visibility there as well.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Okay, our group discussion was very nice, so I hope the other groups went well. And the idea now is that each group takes a few minutes to share what we discussed, and then we can all talk and hopefully define some actions to follow up when the webinar ends. We can start maybe with group one, which was the group that I was moderating. I will start with Joanna, Amit, and Wenkai. We had some nice discussions, and Joanna volunteered to be the speaker to share.
Okay, I will try to do my best because we discuss a lot of themes and we have a lot of ideas, but like we don't have like a big conclusion, but we were thinking that we need a forum to discuss between us. Maybe some people suggest WhatsApp, but I think maybe I don't know, I am not a big fan of WhatsApp groups. Maybe we can explore other platforms like Slack or Discord, and we can have like a main group of discussion and also subgroups with specific teams, so we can discuss about, I don't know, like or keywords, something like that. Also, we thought that it would be nice to have like annual workshops or meetings where we can learn from seniors, for example, how to write successful proposals, something like that. Especially in the Global South, maybe we have some barrier for the language, so that will be helpful. And also we're talking about mentorship, that would be something nice if seniors in Global Land program could advise some of the early career students. And I think that were like the main ideas that we suggest. I am not sure if I am missing something, Sophia.
Oh, I think that was great. We thought that mentorship would be particularly useful, for example, as we define what would be an appropriate organizational structure for this early career network. So maybe we can have, I don't know, a session or something with more senior land system scientists to try to brainstorm ideas on how to start building and organizing this network. And then Amit also shared an experience about the group that he participates in that is sort of like an early career network. Amit, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but he has some experience in that, and they have some good ideas on how to set a network and what kind of activities to provide, particularly for Global South scholars and practitioners. I don't know, Amit, if you want to share something about that.
Yeah, well, maybe I can just add. Well, I could just say that it's a group of agrarian scholars who are doing this. It was originally initiated by the Journal of Peasant Studies. The editor of Journal of Peasant Studies, Saturnino June Boras, who had initially began this with the support of the Agricultural University of Beijing, that's began this right shop, and that's how they got a bunch of youngsters together, young early career scholars together for something like this, and that's how it began. But right now it's a group of about 240 people. So it's a pretty vibrant community. I think the one thing I'd like to emphasize there is, I mean, what I see really working in that group is the fact that the top people in the whole thing that they're not directly involved in the running of the thing, because it's entirely run by the needs and of the early career network. Those who have sort of joined in, their needs are very different. So that's something that I noticed to be the best part of the whole thing. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit. And maybe we can move to the second group just to keep the timing.
Yes, I will just try to summarize, but I mean, everyone is welcome to add. I think it's pretty much in the same direction was a discussion that quite often what is kind of the missed or not missed, but we can extend or give the capacity and build the capacity if we have some regular updates, also in terms of the emails about different events through GLP, but also simply having a platform saying, hey, what's going on, more horizontal type of the communication, not necessarily a senior / early career scientist, but also among early career scientists. And this helps in order to compare certain things, find the person to collaborate, learn about a different educational system if the people move from one continent to another continent. That can be both emails. It seems to me email is one of the classic option which still is in the market, but also could be a Slack thing where you exactly can drop the couple of the lines of the text. We discussed about also using OSM, yeah, that to use as a platform in ONSM and to give the space for this earlier career scientists more to exchange, yeah, that again, peer-to-peer, but also not necessarily expecting too much from senior scholars, but some people who are in between, who are not that busy, but will be willing to share some or to give the feedback, maybe, I don't know, in some applications or some ideas about the research. So that's something could be also added and used for that. Maybe something missed, and I would like to give this floor to our participants of the group to share some words about that.
I think that was a great summary.
Cool, great. Okay, and maybe
Yeah,
group
thank
3.
Yeah, here we need someone to take responsibility to report back. Pablo, you look like you're ready.
I can try, but I had the worst connection, so I missed a couple of important interventions in our group. Anyways, what I think can summarize what I heard is that we talked about format of the conference. It might be more inclusive, more, mid 21st century thing instead of a classic academic conference. We want to be inclusive and use all the digital tools that we have at hand in order to make participation more accessible and also address the economic and social gaps that people might be in. Then we talked about actually participating as early career researchers to understand whether it's worth or not going to the conference and how you make those decisions. We talked about the carbon footprint of the meeting and how that decision was made a little bit. Then we talked about the difficulty of dealing with the internet connection in areas like Oaxaca, where we don't have an excellent connection in order to host a hybrid meeting. So I think that's an important thing to have in mind. How do you play around with that? One very interesting contribution was to think about other types of meetings parallel to this one. And then there was the topic of kind of expanding the meeting a little bit through different events and stuff so that people can actually be in the meeting and enjoy the meeting for more than just 2 or 3 days, and also have other types of experiences and not only a group of presentations, but also maybe field trips or some sort of I don't know, mixer and social groups, etc. Right? And I find it super interesting, super relevant, and also very, very new. It's a very innovative thing. I haven't seen it in all the conferences that I've been to lately. I think GLP is taking a very interesting step on that. So amazing. That will be my summary. Please contribute and further more. I
think that,
Okay.
I mean, any of the group can add to this, but yeah, I think that sums it up. As well as a general discussion on the sustainability of traveling to Oaxaca, which is an issue we will be communicating on too, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I will give space if anyone wants to add something. Ariana, I think you're mute.
I was muted. Sorry, that was hidden. I'll just add from our group. So I'm Ariana Bremen. I'm leading the International Program Office right now. That's at the University of Maryland. And we will be sending out an e-news kind of outlining the justification by the, or the thinking behind the meeting being in Oaxaca. But I'm really hoping or curious. We talked about the OSM, but the whole group, everyone assembled here is like, how can the OSM be something that really serves the purposes of the early career community? So yeah, sessions, when you register your session, there's a checkbox for being able to say that it's an early career session, for example, and that's for the scientific program. So the scientific program has research sessions, those can be early career, but there's also these interactive and immersive sessions. So this could be topical, but also have like an early career angle to them. And then also just that there's days before and days after, and those are all still completely open to how the early career researchers of GLP want to see gatherings, be. What do they want to see happen? And just to say that the IPO and I think the SSC is really standing by and ready to shape things along the lines of, and that's why we called this session kind of a co-design session. Because we really want to do things that support you all.
Thank you, Ariane. I think a lot of great ideas emerged from the three sessions. I see some commonalities in the three sessions, or at least in two of them. We discussed about mentorship and how more senior researchers or practitioners can help early careers to build this network, and also connecting between different career stages. But there was also a lot of discussion about more horizontality and how to build more connections among early careers. And other commonality, I think, was that maybe we need a channel to connect and to start interacting. So that's something we can focus on in the next steps. And then yeah, and I guess I think we have set the ground for continuing working and building this early career network. Since we want to be a very open and dynamic construction of the network, we know there are a lot of challenges and a lot of open things now, but we can select maybe one or two things that we want to focus on once the webinar ends, that we can continue working on. Yeah, I don't know if someone has any thoughts.
Yeah, I just to say that I think the OSM is sort of a good goal to have in mind. That for there we will get together. It will be arranging things also in general at the GLP level. Everything will be oriented toward the OSM. So getting lines of communication up and running, getting ideas down in some Slack or whatever, beginning to organize around what could be fun to do, getting hold of the IPO office, helping set things up, using local people like Pablo, who is here, who's actually from Oaxaca, to help arrange stuff. Just get the ball rolling with the aim of the OSM. And that would be, for me, what I think would be where we are heading.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good idea. It's also nice timing because we have 1 year from now, so it gives us time to organize, but it's a specific goal that we can work towards. So, Tim, do you want to add something?
Yeah, maybe a slightly different perspective on that. The OSM is now 1 year away, and it feels to me like the OSM is maybe a great opportunity to review what we can accomplish or not over the next year. And so I think something like starting a Slack, maybe it doesn't work, maybe it really does work. And so I think maybe we can use the next year to try a couple things and then meet in person for those of us who'll be there at the OSM next year and talk about, okay, what worked, what didn't work, and kind of move forwards from that.
I think that's a great idea. That's exactly what we were thinking of, just trying different things, channels, activities, and maybe having the OSM to revisit that and see what worked, what didn't work, and rebuild based on that. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think that could be our goal then, maybe putting some channels, one or two channels together, and maybe defining some activities there as early career network, and then thinking how to have more representation in the OSM and meeting there and revisiting what we have done and what we can do better, what we want to change, what worked. But of course, before the OSM, we can have like some regular meetings or gatherings to adjust all these things if you want, if that's something you're interested in.
A few other ideas. I was recently at the World Climate Research Program conference, and they had an early and mid-career symposium that might be something we could explore for GLP. So I think they took the day before and the day after, and they got all the early careers together, various topics talking about like the state of research and where the gaps are and that kind of stuff, working towards like writing a high level kind of review paper of like land system science, it could be in our case, figuring out what the kind of future research agenda is. And then another thing they tried to do was work with local academic institutions. So that could be another option in Oaxaca, to partner with a local university to offer training or workshop or something like that. We have all these amazing scientists that are going to be in Oaxaca, and it'll be kind of contained within the conference. But if we can connect with the local community to put stuff on there too, that could be pretty rewarding as well.
Thanks, Andrew. Those are both things that are actually in the works now. So we're partnering with the UNAM department in Oaxaca already. They're on the science committee, but also we're trying to work with civil society organizations so that there would be that link. And then the other thing is we are hoping to have, that's exactly what we'd love to see if you guys want to help organize, is like a symposium or an event the day before that would just be for early career. And I didn't mention this to everyone because I was just in the OSM group, but we're hoping to find funding, for that day for a select group of early career, or maybe everybody, to join that. Certainly there's going to be a party. Jonas has established that. Sorry, Claudia, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't find the hand. Yeah, I was also researching close to Oaxaca, and there's a big team of researchers from the UNAM, but also from the University of Oaxaca. So I would be glad to help out, to organize something in common, because they are not all landscape scientists, but work very specific on transdisciplinary issues, and it also has to do with land use and food systems. So I think it could be really interesting, and it's close to, I mean, it's the neighbor village of Oaxaca. It's like a 20 minutes drive, and yeah, so I'm glad to help to establish some connections.
Thank you, Claudia. That's awesome. I don't want to keep you too late. I know we are on time, but I think there are a lot of great ideas coming out. My sensation is that maybe we need like a channel, a communication channel. So maybe that could be one next step to keep connected and continue sharing ideas. And then within the SSC, we will digest everything that we discussed here and maybe summarize it and share it with you for feedback and to decide how to continue, if you agree. But thank you all. This is very exciting, and we are looking forward to continue working with you and building this network. So stay tuned, and maybe we can generate that channel soon and continue interacting.